we're going to make one of the most mysterious, but one of the easiest to make herbal preparations, tinctures. People wonder, what are they and why are they so good? All a tincture is what's called a fluid extract, meaning that we're using some type of liquid to extract the medicinal properties of the plants. Unlike a tea where we use water alone, with a tincture we might use something different. We might use an acid like acetic acid, which is vinegar. Vinegar will extract certain properties from certain plants. But the best tincture base is alcohol, some type of mixture of alcohol and water. And the best alcohol to use is ethyl alcohol, which means grain alcohol. And one of the easiest, simplest, cheapest ways is just vodka. This is what herbalists have been using for years. This is vodka, and vodka by law can only be ethyl alcohol and water. Now, what percentage of alcohol is in this? This particular vodka here is 80 proof. If you divide proof in half, you have the percentage of alcohol. That means that this vodka is 40% alcohol and 60% water, and that's fine. Dr. Christopher used alcohol like this for years. Sometimes you can even buy alcohol like this. This is Smirnoff's Blue Label. This is 100 proof. If you divide that by 2, that means it's 50% alcohol and 50% distilled water. These two vodkas, and this one is very cheap, will make most any tincture you want. If you want a little stronger alcohol, in some states you can buy Everclear, and this ranges from 150 proof, which is 75% alcohol, all the way almost up to pure alcohol, 190 proof. This is only available in certain states, and it's not necessary. If you're going to use this, you might want to use this for resinous plants. They extract better using higher alcohol contents. But any of these alcohols are fine. Let's make something to start with vinegar. Again, most tinctures we make with alcohol, but vinegar works better for some. Like lobelia, for instance, is better in a mix of vinegar and alcohol. It's one of the exceptions. But we can start with a tonic that I think is great. You know, Dr. Christopher had a plague tonic that he suggested people make for when times of need come, where we have infections and viral attacks and cancers that sweep the country. You know, at the turn of the century, millions died just from fevers alone, and we've seen hundreds and thousands of people die quickly from various viruses and infections and diseases. But his plague tonic is a little bit difficult to make, and we do include the recipe in the manual. But I'm also going to make a quick super tonic. This is what I call a super tonic, and I like to make it because we use fresh vegetables that stimulate the body and heal. It's so easy. We use some nice chili peppers. Remember, cayenne moves the blood all around the body. It stimulates the circulation. You can't do without it. Just take the top off, drop the whole peppers right in the blender. Don't be fussy about this. You can make it easy. Also, we want to add to the cayenne, we also want to add some ginger. Remember, Dr. Christopher said that cayenne goes to the heart first and moves the blood out. Ginger goes to the extremities first and brings it back. But you can't get two better circulatory herbs than cayenne and ginger. You know, in some of the ski resorts, they sell a powder called warm feet to sprinkle in your socks or in your mittens that heats you up. All that is cayenne, ginger, and mustard. You saw that with the cold sheet treatment. So we just throw some ginger and our cayenne in there, the two greatest herbs to stimulate your circulation. Now, how about for infection? Hey, you can't get better than garlic. Remember, don't get too fussy with this. I'm just going to crush up this garlic. We're probably going to strain this later anyway, so throw it all in. Just throw it in. Hey, you get a little garlic paper in there, who cares? And let's also get some onion in there. Remember, onion is called Allium cepa botanically, and garlic is Allium sativum. They're very close to each other, and garlic and onions contain tremendous oils that are antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. You know, They've done tests where they've taken garlic and onions and just used the odor to destroy just about every kind of bacteria known. And so we have our onions and our garlic in there. Last but not least, let's get some horseradish in here. We got it around. Horseradish is a bit hard, so I'm going to cut this up a little bit more. We'll slice it up, but remember, you don't have to get too fussy making this. I rarely break blenders, and even the cheap ones work very good. So we're going to toss a little horseradish root in here, and here we got it. We take our vinegar. If you want a tonic that is the cure-all, believe me, anytime you're feeling low, anytime you're feeling like you need a pickup or some energy, I suggest you take an ounce of this tonic, gargle with it, swallow with it. It'll make some changes. Toss this all in the blender. Just start blending it up. Add a little more vinegar. You know, many people say, how much herb do I put in? How much liquid? Let's not get too technical. I want you to make this, not earn some Nobel Prize in science, okay? Just make it. Get it in the blender. The basic rule, look at that. It's blending up just fine. That's perfect, just like that. The basic rule is don't skimp. When you take any vessel, when it settles, I would like to see it at least 3/4 of the way full with your chopped herbs, whether they're fresh or dried, and only about the quarter at the top will settle and you'll just have liquid. Remember that. Most of the companies that are making these preparations are using 1/10 or 1/4 only filled with herbs, and the rest is the base. It doesn't make it strong enough. Put plenty of herbs in there. This is cheap and it could save your life. Don't be frugal with this. You're talking about a tonic that's going to improve your health. Take a look at this. We just have a mash here. Now we can add more vinegar to this, because we have a lot of vegetable matter in there. How much cayenne, ginger, garlic? Equal parts of cayenne, ginger to stimulate that circulation, equal parts of garlic and onion to destroy that bacteria, that virus, that fungus, and the horseradish to move it up to the head. Put it in your blender. Make sure it blends well, and then put it in a jar. The basic rule is put it somewhere where you're going to see it, out of the light, but where you're going to see it. Just put it in a nice jar. These are some wonderful gallon jars we have here. Wow, you ought to smell this. I'm telling you, this will clear your sinuses out for the next year. Put it in a jar and just put it somewhere where you're going to see it. And every day when you walk by it multiple times, just shake it up. Just shake it up. Keep it where you can see it. Shake it all the time. This is a great super tonic to improve your health. Okay, let's take a look at our super tonic here. This is just about perfect. Remember, shake it every time you walk by it and see it. If it settles, you don't want more than the top quarter being just liquid. You want it filled with those healing herbs. And when you're done, when the 14 days are up, you can strain it out if you want and just take that liquid and use it. You can also, I have friends that just leave it like this, kind of like applesauce, and spoon it down that way. Generally speaking, with a tincture, we want it to at least go for 14 days. Do you know that many great herbal companies, supposedly great, use a super 3-day extraction process? It's a bunch of crap. It's unbelievable how pathetic those herbal products are. 14 days is our minimum. If you start your tincture, start it on the new moon. That's the moon where you hardly see a moon. And you end it on the full moon. You know that most farmers, since time began, have used the phases of the moon to plant and harvest crops. We know that the tides are affected by the moon, and so are herbal tinctures. Start your tinctures on the new moon and let them go about 14 days and squeeze them off on the full moon. But you know, many of my tinctures I let go for 3 or 4 months, so don't be in any hurry to squeeze them out. The longer you let them brew, the stronger and the more effective they're going to be. Let's take a look at our ointment here. It's had a chance to harden. Here you can see it. There's our ointment in the jar. And you can see that we have a nice consistency here. As I run my finger through it, we take it out, and there we have it, our herbal ointment. It's so easy to make. Okay, let's take a look at how we're going to begin to make a couple tinctures. You know, many people think that they need to use dried herbs to make tinctures, but some of your most strongest tinctures are made using fresh herbs. But you can use dried and or fresh, because remember, there's no oil involved here. So with the fresh plants, even though they have a liquid content, it won't affect the alcohol or your tincture at all. So I'm going to make a couple tinctures. First, I'd like to make a lobelia tincture. And we have our lobelia that we sampled before, and we're going to put it in the blender. We can put the stalks right in here. I'm just going to break it up a little bit so it all gets right down in there. Now for a stronger tincture, we could just use the pods, but I have all these pods right here in the bottom that I'm going to add in. Now you gauge the amount of alcohol that you use by the amount of herb that you have. We have very little lobelia here, so careful not to add too much alcohol, because remember, we want the herbs to be at least halfway up when that jar settles. Halfway up, if not 3/4. Remember, with lobelia, we're talking about saving people from asthma. We're talking about dilating those bronchial tubes when a person's turning blue and drowning on their own mucus. Let's not cheapen here and add too much alcohol and then be sorry that our relative died because the tincture was too weak. So go ahead and just add a little bit to start. We'll blend that and see how it looks. Let's blend it up. Wonderful. Now what do you do with your tincture now that you've blended it? Well, you can put it into canning jars. You know, canning jars are wonderful ways to store your tinctures. Here's a quart canning jar. Here's a pint canning jar. You can use old jars that you've had maybe peanut butter in or who knows what in your kitchen. You know, Dr. Christopher used any kind of jar to make a tincture. You don't need laboratory equipment here and any sophisticated machinery to make a tincture. Here it is. Here's our lobelia already blended up with the alcohol. Basically now take it and pour it in a jar. And see where we're at. We can add a little more alcohol to that. If that's all the herb you have, that's all the tincture you can make. And Sandy, I'm going to ask you to clean this out for me, please. Okay, you can just use any jar. Here we're using canning jars. Pour your tincture in, and you do the same. Shake it up. Okay, every time you go by it. We only have a little tincture here. You make little tinctures in little jars and big tinctures in big jars. Shake it constantly. It goes with the moons, the new moon to the full moon, and then you strain it out. And we do the same straining method as we did with the ointment. A nice piece of unbleached cotton into a glass bowl. And Hillary, could I get you to strain this for me? And Sandy, I'll take that blender back and we'll make ourselves another tincture here. And then we're going to taste them and see what we have. Let's make a fresh tincture now. Now we happen to have all these chilies here. Why not? Why don't we make a cayenne tincture? And it's so easy to do. I'm just going to drop these cayenne peppers right in the blender. Oh, you can pull a few stems off. Hey, if you don't, you don't. It doesn't matter. Why not maybe, hey, let's add a little ginger. It's sitting right here. Two of the greatest herbs for the circulation in the heart. Hey, the #1 killer in the United States is heart disease. Over 1 million people a year die from it. We'd have a lot less heart disease if people used more cayenne and ginger. What are we going to do now? Let's just put our alcohol in there. Now we're making a fresh herb tincture, unlike the lobelia that we made a dried herb tincture. And we're going to add a little bit of alcohol. We'll blend this up. Hey, look what just happens to be here. Some of our 250,000 heat unit habanero. No one's going to drop dead on you if you throw a little bit of this in. You can put dried herbs, fresh herbs together. It doesn't matter. A little more alcohol on that. Woo! I can smell that. and let's see what happens. Add a little more alcohol to that. We're making a fresh and dried herb tincture of cayenne. Oh, this looks good. Let's add a little more alcohol while it's running. And that's what you're supposed to do when you breathe cayenne. Get a good sneeze going. Blend it up. It's that easy. It's that fast. Take your top off. Pour it into your jar. Remember, it's going to stay here for 14 days. And we're going to shake it every time we see it. And I can tell by the amount of chilies I put in there that I can add a little more alcohol because we're going to taste it right away. Okay, let me shake this up a little bit. Shaking can be a fun part of making this. And we'll just let that settle for a minute. When the full moon comes and it's time to strain these off, you strain them off just like Hillary did. Hillary, you want to bring us back our strained tincture? Wonderful. This is our lobelia tincture right here. We don't have a lot, so we'll use one of our little jars. Now you can also bottle this in some fancy jars if you have them with little droppers. You might have some of these from the herbal tinctures that you bought in the store, and you know what I think about them? Dump them down the drain, put them in the toilet. The best value you got out of buying that was the bottle that it came in. Wash out and save that bottle and use it to bottle the things that you're making yourself. Now, Sandy, Hillary, come on in. Let's try these. We certainly can't expect these to be as good as the tinctures that you can buy in the store because they've only been going for a minute. But let's see what we got here. Let's try this lobelia first. We'll try about 10 drops. Hillary looked a little reluctant. I think she knows this is going to be pretty good. Again, you know, in the stores they're using these laboratory equipments and special 3-day extraction processes. They're super herbs. I mean, how could we possibly compare to that? What do you think?
Instantly felt the scratchiness in the back of my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like hairs in my throat, coughing right away.
Yeah, coughing. And you know, that's what lobelia is supposed to do. It does two things. It makes you cough, and it also dilates your bronchioles. So if you have any mucus or catarrh in your lungs, it'll help you expectorate it. You know, I remember with Dr. Christopher, he made a cough syrup, and everybody brought it back. And I said to these people, why are you returning it? And they said, because it makes us cough. And he said, that's what it's supposed to do. That's what an herbal expectorant is. Why would we want to suppress and keep the mucus in the lungs? Let's get it out of there. Okay, let's try our other tincture here. This is our 1-minute cayenne tincture. It's been sitting here for, maybe it's 2 minutes. We didn't use any special extraction process. I'm just going to give you 3 drops there, and we'll give Sandy 3 drops. Okay, again, I don't know how we can compare with what you can buy in the store. You know, they have the big equipment, the big names, those herbalists on staff in the back room. They're using the big equipment, they're using the special herbs and these NASA-designed extraction processes. Wow, some red faces here.
On fire.
On fire.
It's the hottest of the whole day.
Great, great. Okay, this is 1 minute. We haven't started it with the right moon, ended it on the full moon, squeezed it off, shaken it properly. We threw it in the blender. We didn't even squeeze it out. We put it in our mouth, and it's better than anything you can buy in the store. Make your own tinctures. You know that you've heard me endlessly talk about the importance of having a juicer. Remember, I've told my cancer patients on the way home from my office, you better buy a juicer or I won't even work with you. If you want to know what the #1 tool is for your healing, it's making and drinking your own fresh juice. This juicer happens to be the champion, and in the manual we tell you how to get this juicer. Now there's a lot of juicers on the market. Some of them actually hold the pulp inside, and when you juice they fill up. But you know, after about a quart of juice you have to stop, clean it all out. The bottom line is you'll get bored with that, you won't want to do it, you'll throw it away or put it in the cupboard with everything else that hasn't helped you get well. This juicer is easier to use. It's called a pulp ejector. The juice comes out one place and the pulp out the other. I can juice from now till doomsday without stopping. We can make gallons of juice. You know that in England, when I teach, we put 30, 40 students on a juice fast, and we run this juicer all day long. And look at it. It's a big motor. It's so heavy we could hardly get it up here. This is a quality machine. You'll have it. Your kids will have it. Your grandkids will have it. So let's make a little juice and see how it works. It's so easy. You just turn it on. Basically, we're going to make some carrot juice, and all you do is put the carrots into this funnel and press them down. Your juice flows out through the bottom, and the pulp will eventually come out right through the end. Now sure, there may be better juicers. I know that the Norwalk juicer is wonderful. It'll bring out double the minerals and vitamins maybe that this one will. But it's $2,000, and most people just don't have or will spend that kind of a money on a juicer. This one does the job. Believe me, it's a great juicer. And that's all there is to it. You put the beets, the carrots, the greens, anything you want through here. It'll turn it into juice. You have your pulp left over. You can cook with that pulp. You can compost it. You can do anything you want. And here you have it, ambrosia. This is it, carrot juice. One of the greatest healers you can have. Oh. There's nothing like fresh juice. You know, 10 minutes from now, this juice will have less nutrients and it won't taste anywhere near as good. And I know some of you say, ooh, carrot juice. It's one of the sweetest juices. This tastes so gorgeous. If you want to build your blood, get these beet greens in here. You know that beet greens have almost 3 times the iron of the beets themselves. Get those greens in there, get the carrots in there. I've raised people's hemoglobin counts, doubled their hemoglobin counts in 24 hours with juices. This is our natural healing blood transfusion. Get a juicer, get it running, and you'll get healthy. Now what else? I had to have more. See how simple it is to make high quality juice in your home? You need to be drinking juices every day, 4 or 5 glasses. And on the Incurables program, we want you drinking an 8-ounce glass of juice every hour. Get that juicer going. Now you can also do other things with this juicer. There's a blank plate that goes on right here underneath. We've put that on, and now everything comes out the end. You can make your own fresh nut butters this way. You can put in raw almonds, raw sunflower seeds, and make yourself wonderful, fresh, non-rancid nut butters. But you can also make some fun things. I'm going to make one fun thing for you because, you know, I've done the Incurables program. I fasted for 30 and 60 days. I know what it's like, and sometimes you need a little treat. I'm going to show you how to make one of the greatest treat, and all it is fruit, and you can do this on the raw food program. You can even do this between juice fasts. In the freezer, I've already prepared some frozen fruit. We have some nice pineapple here, we have some apples, and we have some frozen bananas. All we're going to do is put frozen fruit right through this juicer, and you'll be amazed what comes out. It's going to be like soft serve ice cream, but it won't make you sick, it'll make you healthy. Let's turn it on. One of the keys is bananas. You just run the bananas right through. And I need a towel over there, Hillary. Got one right here. And between each banana that you put through, add some other fresh fruit. Look at this. We have some pears. We'll put a few pears through here and some apples, and you'll see those coming out. We have the bananas, and we have some apples, And we even have some pineapple down here. You can take any fruit, just cut it up, clean it, make it the size that it'll fit through here. The bananas naturally will. And then just press it right on down through here. We'll even add one more banana. Look at that. And here you have it. A fresh dessert, no dairy products to make you sick, no pesticides, insecticides, and none of the trouble of the hormones that you'd have in dairy. Here you have your fresh frozen dessert, bananas, there's apples in there. Here's our pineapple. Let's taste it. I'm going to take a break now and finish this. I'll tell you. This tastes great, and it's something you can do on the raw food program. Give yourself a little treat. Well, there you have it. I've exposed the mystery and the secrecy of making herbal preparations. I've made many enemies in my profession by doing this, but who cares? I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I'm here to give you the tools that you need to get well, maybe even save your life. So look, please make a few of these preparations yourself. It's easy, it's simple, and you know, even if you make mistakes, they'll still be better than most anything you can buy in the store.